Hey, Dr. Osborne here. Today we have a question from Carol. Carol wants to know, what are the best ways to detect food allergies aside from gluten? Now, if you followed me for any length of time, you absolutely know the best way to detect a gluten sensitivity is genetically. But what about other foods? That's Carol's question. What about things like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, beef, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, etc.? How do you know if you're allergic to those things? So it's important to understand not one test is going to help you to ascertain all of the things and all of the ways that you might be allergic to those things. So let's kind of break it down for you, Carol. Number one, remember we make different antibodies. IgG, IgA, IgM, and IgE are four of the basic antibodies that our body will produce when it is potentially attacking a food or something we might be being exposed to that's emulating an immune response. So those are important to measure, measuring the antibodies. Now, if you go to most doctors, they'll do, especially if you go to an allergist, they'll do what's called an IgE skin prick test, which typically isn't all that accurate for food. Now, they'll usually only test you for about 8 different foods anyway, so it's not all that comprehensive. Some other doctors will use what are called IgG tests, which measure one of those 4 types of antibodies. So again, if you go to an allergist and they measure IgE, if you go to another type of doctor and they measure IgG, that's still only 2 of the 4 different types of antibody responses. So it's not a very comprehensive approach to ascertaining what you might be allergic to, and you might miss a lot by only running those 2 types of tests. Now, additionally, there are 2 more kinds of immune reactions that we can have. There's something called an immune complex response, and then there's another one called a direct T-cell response. So all these things, all 6 of these levels or areas need to be measured, and that requires a multitude of different types of tests. So the best advice I can give you is to follow up with a great functional medicine doctor who understands food allergies and food sensitivities really well, so that that doc can help you navigate that and pick and choose the right different labs that are going to help give you that answer. Now, let's say you don't have a relationship with a functional medicine doctor and you're trying to figure this out a little bit on your own, the do-it-yourself method. One of the best things that you can implement is a food elimination diet. Paying attention to what you eat is the first step anyway. Remember, there's 3 rules of nutrition that we really want to follow no matter who we are. Rule number one, you cannot get healthy or stay healthy eating food that is not healthy. I know it's a no-brain, common sense rule, but so many people ignore that one, right? Number 2, if you feel bad when you eat it, stop eating it. Listen to your body. Your body is very smart, and it's the best test that you could run at home, right? And then rule number 3 is don't eat what you're allergic, sensitive, or intolerant to, which is what a good functional medicine doctor could help you to understand with a variety of different labs that bring all of this information together. So again, IgA, IgG, IgM, IgE, immune complex response, and T-cell response, those all need to be measured if you're doing this properly. Now, one other thing that you want to consider is that eating real food has to be on the priority list. So many of you go to restaurants, go to fast food places, and the food is contaminated with chemicals and with garbage. So, for example, some foods contain food dyes, pesticides, preservative agents, and many people react to those things and not the food. So sometimes it isn't even necessarily the food that you're reacting to, but it's the chemicals that are being put in the food to preserve them or to enhance their flavor or extend their shelf life that are actually the culprits. Again, this is why I encourage visiting with a qualified functional medicine doc who understands how to test for food additives, for food preservatives, and all those other things as well. But you're always better off just avoiding those things altogether, eating real food, making that rule number 1, real food has to come first. Thanks so much for asking your question, and have a great day. Hey, if you've got a functional medicine or health question that you'd like me to answer for you, make sure you send me an email, glutenology@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to create a video answer just for you. Have a great day.